Hi, Wendy.
Hi, how are you, Sherry?
Good, good. How's the weather in New Mexico?
Dry and windy. Dry,
No.
windy, and hot. Yeah.
So if
We've
anyone hears a few wind chimes in the background, that's what they hear, right?
right. We've had a lot of fires here.
Oh,
Yeah. In fact, New Mexico, up more by Santa Fe than where we live, they've had the biggest fires in the country going. Yeah.
oh, wow.
Not fun.
Yeah. So well, listen, let's get down to the business part first, because as we know, we are really trying to grow this channel. So we want to offer, how can we grow the channel, and then how can we get people involved in more of the astrology that you're doing to be helpful to the fans out there.
Okay. Well, first of all, if you're not on my mailing list for my celestial updates, and they're free, and I'll have a link to the bottom below this video on how to sign up for the free celestial updates. And you'll get an update every couple of weeks according to the phases of the moon. Okay. It's not like it comes all the time. And then I have had so many people ask me if I teach astrology, and yes, I do. And I am reintroducing my basic astrology class at just a phenomenal price. And if you're interested in learning astrology with me, I would love to be able to teach you and work with you on that basis. And so those instructions on how to sign up will also be below the video. And then, and I'm really excited about this, guys, I'm starting a subscription program. It's for a very nominal fee. But what will happen with this subscription program is to be able to talk more freely about what's really going on in the world without any censorship, so we can talk about anything. And I have a lot of people asking me, well, you say, that all these things are being revealed, but we don't see what they are. And I can start helping people see what's being told out there, what's coming to light, so people really understand what's being revealed, and we can talk about anything. Okay. And so the instructions will be at the bottom under the video, and sign up and let's get going. We've got our first Zoom meeting on the 31st of May, and then if you have questions that you want me to answer, on this forum, just be sure and email me your questions, and then we'll talk about those. It's going to be a lot of questions and answers going on our monthly meetings.
And
Yeah.
you said just sort of like forming a family as well,
Yes, we're,
like-minded people.
yeah,
What's great is like the astrology piece that you bring into this whole thing is, I crave it every month. We talk every month, and I'm like, so wait, what does my astrology say this month? So
yeah,
you can look at it collectively and begin to analyze what is going on collectively and be able to, you know, um, talk about those things in a more open forum.
exactly. And
Yeah,
that's what I want to do, because people are so afraid to ask questions and afraid to speak up for fear of the censorship.
right,
So
right. So
we'll
fun, good
eliminate
stuff,
all of that.
good stuff, good
And
stuff.
and then as a May special, starting on Mother's Day, I started it where the mini readings are half price. So if you want a quick check-in, you want to know what's going on in your life, go ahead and sign up for that. And that link for that will also be in the description below. And
Very nice.
so, yeah, lots of good things going on. Really enjoy the opportunity to work with you any way I can, to help. There's so much going on. We all need help. We're all feeling it, aren't we?
Very exciting, Wendy. Thank you for putting that together. That's really
You're
nice.
sure welcome. And then
Yeah,
also be sure and hit the like button and the subscribe button, because
please, yes.
your participation and is so helpful to us as we try and grow this channel and help more people.
Yeah, and we love the questions. I mean, we get questions, in the comments below, but we also get private email questions and people commenting on the videos. So if you could keep doing that, we'll more appreciate your feedback.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes. All right. So today's topic, you got a couple things going on today, right?
Right. we're going to talk specifically about 3 different things that are very powerful right now. And the first one is and it's a long one. It's called the blood moon total lunar eclipse in Scorpio. And one of the first questions I got, which was just this last week, somebody said, what is a blood moon? What does it mean? And so just so you understand, of course, it doesn't have anything to do with blood, but the moon turns red only at a total lunar eclipse.
Hmm.
And that means that it is complete, complete, and you can't see the actual thing. You only see the light coming around it. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And what happens at that time is that the moon is picking up more of the light from the earth, less blue light from the cosmos, and more earth energy. And that's what turns it red. It actually bends the light. Now, if you really want to get into the technical astronomical, because it's part of astronomy, technicalities, just Google it, or Bing it, or go DuckDuckGo it, and find out. And you can read the technical part of it, but it just has to do with the light bending and pulling up more of the earth energy, which turns the moon red. So that's why, and like I say, it only happens with a total lunar eclipse. Okay.
And that's what we have going on this month.
That's what we have going on this month. So first we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about the Mercury retrograde and what's going on with that. And then we'll talk about that Jupiter has changed signs. It was in Pisces and now it's in Aries. So we've got a whole different energy that we're going to be dealing with. So, but first, the other thing too I wanted to talk about, and I like to do this with each video, is to let people know that the energies we talk about with all of these things are the exact energies, but things can happen while it's in an orb of influence, before the exactitude or after. At any time, we can't say for sure what's going to happen or when it's going to happen. We can only tell you what the energies are, okay? And then just be watchful and see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we talked about too about the triggers. Sometimes you get a trigger at that point that you don't really see until down the timeline. So sometimes the small triggers domino down into something that started way back here at this energy.
That's right. And the next big trigger that we have is actually in August, the first week of August, where we have Mars conjuncting Uranus and conjuncting the North Node. That is like huge. So the first week of August is going to be a real hot spot. Then it can mean, earthquakes in places. It can mean, storms, just aggressive activity on the planet. So
yeah, just as a side note there, South Carolina had an earthquake yesterday or 2 days ago.
Did they?
Which is unusual.
How big was it?
I think it was like a 3.2.
Yeah, that's not too bad, but still. Yeah. And eclipse energy, remember, eclipse energy starts a month before the eclipse and at least 6 months after. So we're in the energetic space for this eclipse, and it does mean more earthquakes. Yeah, I think we're gonna see more of those too. Not only now, but remember, for 6 months down the road, and even longer. This one may go longer because this eclipse lasts for 19 minutes. It's a little bit longer than most, which tends to elongate the energetic pathway of it. Okay, so it may be even longer. So at least 7 months, and we're in it right now. So I'm not surprised about that, but I really don't listen to mainstream media at all. And I was thinking about that today. I was thinking, I wonder if there've been some earthquakes, but I haven't had time to stop and look them up.
Somebody just told me. That's how I knew, because I don't really watch the news either.
Right. And that's one thing. You can go to USGS Gov earthquakes, and then they have lists of them. So everybody can look them up. But this eclipse is in Scorpio, okay, which is very meaningful. The sign that it's in makes such a difference. And Scorpio is the most intense and the most emotional of all the signs. Okay. So this eclipse has to do with waves of possibilities that are before us. Okay. And when we deal with the Scorpio influence, it's emotional, it can be powerful, it can be deep, dark, and dirty. But I can always tell when the moon is in Scorpio because I just feel yucky. And it'll last for like 2.5 days, just in general, not this eclipse. The eclipse makes it ever more powerful than normal, but just an average moon in Scorpio is difficult emotionally. And so this energy can be very powerful for the unfolding of the world's evolution. Okay, it's a tipping point. And we can all feel it, can't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
We can feel that energies are building. It's like we're in a pressure cooker, and the energies just keep building and building. And it's like, oh my God, when can we take off the lid and release the pressure before it explodes? That's kind of what we're in right now in this tipping point. So we want to just be watchful, okay? And it's really important too that we don't be reactionary, because we're going to see a lot of weird stuff over the next few months and through the end of May and into June. There's going to be a lot of strange things happening. So we can lose our power by getting all excited, or we can just be watchful and thoughtful and not get emotionally involved in things we cannot change. Now, that's a really good way to determine, if you should get anxious about something. You look at it and you determine, can I affect a change in this? If you can affect a change in something in your neighborhood or whatever, then go ahead and go out and meet with people and do those things. But if it's something that you cannot change, then don't allow yourself to give your power away to it. Keep it here. And if you do anything about a situation like that, you pray for it. You put your light on it. That's the best way that you can help, rather than, giving all your power away to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, the other thing that's involved with this stepping into our power, because Pluto is involved, this Jupiter now in Aries is in a sextile to Pluto. And so, issues of power are really, really strong right now. So we as individuals need to step into our power. Okay. It's still a theme. It was with the last eclipse, and it's still the theme now. And also associated with this is the T-square with Saturn in Aquarius. So the moon, there's so many sub things going on with this moon. It's not just the moon, it's in a T-square to Saturn. It's in a sextile to Jupiter and Pluto. I mean, there are just so many subcategories that it's not just one thing. And that's why people are going to start feeling really, really scattered, because all of these various energies, and some of them are really positive and really helpful, are going to be circulating all at the same time. And so people are going to get pretty confused. But there's going to be, because it's also in Scorpio, okay, eclipses are notorious for letting out information. And so we know that Scorpio is the sign of secrets. It's the sign of the deep, dark underbelly. And with Saturn involvement, we're looking at the underbelly of government. We're looking at sexual secrets. We're looking for secrets that have to do with institutions, money, banking. All of this stuff is going to be brought to light, and it already has started. coming to light. And these are things too that we can talk about in the subscription forum. But just know that murky stuff's going to keep coming out. They can't hide it from us anymore. They just can't hide it. They've been trying really, really hard. And with Saturn up there in this T-square to the moon, to Scorpio and Taurus, Saturn represents holding on tight to our structures, government holding on tight, trying to keep us in subjection. And the people just aren't going to stand for it. Remember that Aquarius, and Saturn is in Aquarius. Aquarius represents the people. It represents freedom and truth. So there's no way that they're going to get away with mandates anymore. The people will not tolerate it anymore. So we've got that situation going. Now, the nodes are also part of the eclipse. The eclipse is at 25 degrees, Scorpio Taurus. The nodes are at 22 degrees. And there are a whole bunch of other planets that are all 22 degrees and further out, which means that we're at a time of endings. Okay, finishing things up and endings. Let me tell you what we've got here. The nodes are at 22 degrees. We've got Pluto, it is at 28 degrees. Saturn is at 25 degrees. Neptune is at 24 degrees. Mars is at 25, I think, or 26 degrees. The sun is at 25 degrees and the moon is at 25 degrees. And then, like I said, the nodes are at 22. So we've got 8 points that are all past 22 degrees, which means we're at endings. Things are going to be moving forward. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to be all totally comfortable. You know, this is not how the world works. You know, it's usually discomfort that gets us to change what we do. But that's what's going on. That's really, really interesting.
I think we're all kind of getting used to the uncomfortable.
Yes, it's just become more a part of life. There's no more Father Knows Best or the Donna Reed show, you know. That was clear back in the 50s, guys. It's not that way anymore. And so the other thing that's really interesting, and I've talked about this before, that all the planets were lined up between the nodes. So say we have the north and the south node here, and all the planets were here, and there was nothing outside of that. Okay, none of the planets went outside of that. That is a very prophetic, powerful configuration. Okay, that things are, and we can see how tightly construed everything has been, right? Well, now the planets are moving out of that. See the sun, see the nodes are at 22 degrees, and now the sun has moved past the nodes outside of that arch. Okay, and so all the planets are going to start coming out from that. And that means things are not going to be so rigid and tight. They're going to be moving forward.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah, that's a real important thing to know. Now, let me see if I've got any more on this. Okay, with the Saturn T-square, with the nodes, I mean, with the eclipse, what that means is endings that are permanent.
Oh boy.
Permanent endings. Something is falling away. And then using Aquarius energy with Saturn to begin to create our future. Okay, because remember, Aquarius represents the people. So government controls, I think, are ending in the severity that they've been because we're involved in Aquarian energy. Now, the other thing that's interesting about this eclipse is how it impacts the Queen and that whole dynasty, and also Biden. And the Queen and family are directly influenced by this eclipse. I can't remember what I saw with the Queen, but I know that Charles has it conjunct his son, and Andrew has it conjunct his moon. So they're going to be directly affected. And the Queen, it doesn't look good. She's 96. Hello.
Yeah.
And she's recently had COVID. And so there's going to be a whole changing of the guard there. That's just evident, very evident. Now, this also affects Biden directly. And that has a lot to do with the change of the guard that's coming, not only for England, but for the United States. By the end of this year, it's all going to be different. And maybe before then, maybe by September or October, all of these things will have changed. You know, so we don't want to get uptight about it. We don't want to, again, if it's something you cannot change, don't give your power to it. Just observe and watch what's happening, you know, in the world. And what's really fun is to watch the way they spin everything. I love that. It's like, oh, wow, okay, that's a cool one. That's a cool spin. So many solar flares are happening right now. And if you're not familiar with it, look it up, because we have more solar flares than, as far as I know, in recorded history.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I read that and I was trying to figure out what those mean.
Yeah. Well, they bring in new information. They are part of what's happening, creating the ascension symptoms. Okay. And why they're creating these symptoms is because your body is adjusting to higher frequencies, and your bodies are being shifted and changed to be able to handle more light, more high frequency light. That's what it's all about. So when you get the ringing in the ears, and you get the insomnia and the exhaustion and the heart palpitations, and you know, there are a whole lot of them, pains in weird places in your body's just adjusting. Don't knee-jerk respond to any of this stuff. Just go, okay, this is part of the ascension symptoms. And if you guys want to know how to take care of these symptoms, watch the videos. Done 2 videos on ascension symptoms. Watch them and see what remedies that I give you that help tremendously to overcome these symptoms.
Plus, you've done several ascension symptom
Readings.
appointments. Yeah, readings with people, which you have said you've gotten rave reviews from that. That's also super helpful if you're really struggling.
Right, because we can do custom based on your astrology and the symptoms, and I can give you custom things that you can do that will work just for you. Okay. So thank you for reminding me of that. So the solar flares are huge right now, and recognize too that what's going on in the world, a lot of it has been designed to be a distraction. Okay. And we can just go back and talk about the distractions, you know, and anytime something huge comes up like Johnny Depp and you know, Elon Musk and all of this stuff, you go, okay, what's the next distraction to take us away from what they're doing in the background? Okay. The freedoms that they're trying to figure out how to take away again, you know, all of these things that are going on behind the background. Know that when something comes up and it's all over the news, you know, it's a distraction. Okay. But don't put energy into things that you don't want. Put energy into how you want it to be. Okay. That's really important. Again, stay emotionally neutral and balanced. Be watchful. Now, with the Neptune, Jupiter, Mars in Pisces, well, Mars has moved away from Pisces. It's now in Aries, but however, it's still within orb of influence. And that's wonderful. It's a time of beauty. It's a time of creation. It's a time of hopefulness, okay, and harmony. Utilize your talents. Utilize your spiritual gifts. And, you know, make it work for you. Use the energies when they're strong, and they're very strong right now for those kinds of things. So it's important to take advantage of that.
Very nice.
Okay, is there anything else you want to add on that one, Sherry?
No, I'm like, this reading this video, I'm really just absorbing a lot. It's a lot of information, and I'm thinking about the goods and the bads that you're talking about, the, you know, the negative energies and the positive energies, and how to utilize them for
Yeah,
everybody. So
right.
yeah.
Yeah. And we don't want to be overtaken by the negative forces. We won't,
Yeah.
we just can't allow that. We have to be strong in our spirituality and in our joy and
It
doing.
just seems like, yeah, it seems like this has been going on for such a long time that we really do have to just stay neutral, because at this point, it's, you know, it can be confusing to know what to focus on, but focus on your inner self and stay strong there
Yep.
and use discernment.
Mhm.
That's what I think.
Discernment is so important right now.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
very much
You
so.
hear somebody talking about seeing something and go, oh my God, this is such bullshit.
I know. I think my kids have said that a couple times. I'm like, just use your discernment. I think they're so tired of me saying that word right now, but that's really what it is. It's just kind of go back in and trust your own thought processes and your own intuition.
Yep, absolutely.
If it feels off and it's not right, then
Right.
something's, yeah,
That is so important that people recognize when they feel like something's off, but they don't know what it is. And a lot of times people will just get sucked into it because they don't have a clear idea. They think there's something wrong with them.
yeah.
No, there's nothing wrong with you. If you don't feel good about something, back off, because it's your intuition telling you that it's not right. There's mistrust there. There's something that isn't correct.
And I
And
think that's the way to get your power back, is by saying to yourself that you have these, you have this intuition. And if you are doubting the intuition, that gives someone the opportunity to influence you, that you then begin to crumble a little bit. So
yeah, you lose yourself.
don't listen to the outside influences, trust yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful advice. Now, Mercury went retrograde actually yesterday. Now, I've mentioned before what the storm is, the Mercury storm is. And the storm starts about a week prior to it actually stationing retrograde. And then it lasts for an additional week after the retrograde. And the reason that understanding the storm is important is because when Mercury goes slow, it isn't happy. And that's when electronics muck up and, everything starts. So all of that starts a week prior to. Now, Mercury is unhappy when it's going slower than 40 minutes of arc. And I know that's a technical term, but just know that as it moves slowly and then practically goes to a complete standstill when it stations like it did yesterday, before then it actually goes retrograde. So the slower it goes, the more uncomfortable it is. And after the retrograde is over, and this goes from the 10th to the 3rd of June. So when it stations direct, that means it's at a standstill. It stations like a standstill. It takes a week before it starts moving fast enough to be comfortable. So normally a retrograde is 3 weeks, but in reality, it's more like 5 weeks. Okay, just so you understand that. Now, this retrograde starts out in Gemini, which is the communication, telling us what's going on in the world. Mercury is considered the messenger of the gods. And so it backs into Taurus, though, after a few days. And when it backs into Taurus, it's a completely different energy. What is the energy of Taurus? What does it have to do with? It has to do with money and finances and all of those kinds of things. And what's going on in that area? It's food, the breakdown in the supply chain, shortages. Financial markets are volatile right now. We've seen it. We've known it's going to happen. They're up and down, and people are buying and selling. And, there's no stability in the financial markets right now. And Taurus rules the financial markets and money. Okay, so Mercury retrograde, it's not moving well, is it? It's backing up and causing all kinds of difficulties. Now, the difficulties are also have to do with miscommunications. It has everything to do with communication, whether it be with the financial markets and all of that kind of stuff, but Mercury itself has to do with communication. And in retrograde, that means miscommunication, misunderstandings. Not only
Ah,
that, out and out lies. You know, the media is replete with examples of lying and telling us things that aren't true. And so I see kind of a last ditch grasp to hold on to these lies and these stories that we've been fed for a long time. So things can get really misconstrued and mixed up, okay? New revelations are coming out because it is Mercury, even though it's Taurus, and the energy of Taurus, which is what we've talked about, food and money and breaks in the supply chain, which is increasing the cost of food, increasing the cost of gasoline, you know, all of it, all of the inflation, that's all in the area of Taurus.
well, that makes sense.
Yeah. And so, you know, everything is coming to a crescendo, all right?
Mm.
So information is coming out, not only about Taurus things, but remember with the eclipse, we have it in Scorpio. So we know, and all during the eclipse, Mercury's retrograde. And what's it talking about? What's it telling us about all the Scorpio stuff? Okay. The deep, dark underbelly, the sexual secrets, you know, all of the dishonesty in governments and stuff around the world. So what you want to do is you want to observe, you want to listen and follow your inner guidance, not give your power away, stay neutral, unless it's something you know you can affect a change in. And then during the retrograde, the big issue is being quiet. This is a time you want to watch your words.
Good to know.
Yeah, this is not a time to just go charging ahead. No, the retrograde is be still, be silent, okay? Reflect. It's anything with reflect, relax, regroup, reassess, reorganize. That's what a retrograde is all about. Not to start something new, not to see new doctors, not to have surgeries, not to start new businesses. No, it's the time to assess all of that and determine your best way forward when the retrograde is over.
You know,
Okay.
one of the things that you had talked about observing, like you're talking about right now, the one thing that I've learned to say to myself is when I'm looking at what's going on in news, I just go, that's interesting.
Mhm.
That's interesting. It sort of helps me to stay neutral as I'm looking at it and saying, well, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not judging it left or right or up or down or whatever. I'm just, oh, that's interesting. So I can stay neutral.
Right. And that's what we want to do. And everything that we need to know about the lies and the deceit is already out there. A lot of people can't see it yet, but it's already been disclosed. And it's going to be interesting through this retrograde what secrets are revealed. I saw yesterday that a watchdog person found $350 million in kickbacks or money that's been paid to Fauci, Collins, and some of these other people. And I'm going, what? And it says that the news that's coming out is going to be shocking. Wow, I was not expecting that. We're going to hear more about the money that's been divvied up over the billions and billions of dollars that have been brought in from the vaccines and so on. Okay, so prepare though through the retrograde for the positive energies coming in June.
Hmm.
More positive energies. So use the retrograde not to start it, but to think about it, to organize it, plan what you want to do. And then when the retrograde's over, about the second week in June, then you can start, you can initiate the work. And that's what you want to be planning. So right now is the planning time. Okay. Astrology is all about timing, about the best time to do things. And so when it says don't do anything, then by God, don't do anything. And I had thought in the past that, oh, come on, somebody wanted to sign a contract and start a new business, and they said, oh, please, can we do it? And I said, well, just make sure you read all the fine print. Go ahead if you feel you must. And without fail, every single one of the people who pushed that envelope, it failed.
Oh, wow.
Every single one. So what I tell you here is not just hearsay. It's not wishful thinking. It's real. And so be very cautious and thoughtful. Okay. Now, the other big thing is Jupiter. And Jupiter has changed signs. The most important time in the cycle of a planet is when it changes signs or changes directions. So in other words, when it moves into a new sign, and then when it goes retrograde and then direct. Those are the most important energetic times for a planet. And so Jupiter has left Pisces, which it's so happy there. Okay. It's one of the rulers, one of the ancient rulers of Pisces. And it means spirituality, it means creativity, it means love and compassion, hope, all of these things. Well, now Jupiter is pulling out of that stellium in Pisces and has moved into Aries. Like today it's at 0 degrees Aries, completely different type of energy. Okay. Aries energy is about courage. It's about action. Okay. It's about impulsiveness and impatience. All right. Moving forward. And so a lot of people are going to, feel that energy and want to really charge forwards, but be cautious, be thoughtful, be careful, hold on to your power and hold on to your energy. One of the things about Aries never plays the victim. Aries energy is, I'm doing this, it reminds me of Star Trek, which is to go where no one has gone before, I mean, they're out there exploring, starting, initiating, aggressive action, but it does not play the victim. It has to do with strength and it has to do with courage. Okay. And all of us through this time, we're dealing with a new chapter in human history. This isn't insignificant. This is huge. This is new, fresh energy, and we're breaking new ground. Okay. So we're doing that on a collective level and we're doing it on an individual level. What are we going to do with this new powerful energy? Okay. So now the other little interesting quirk here, remember I told you there are a lot of sub things going on. And this is that Jupiter is in a semi-square to Uranus. So we've got Uranus in the mix, okay? Now, what's really interesting is Jupiter and Uranus mean a lot of the same energy. It means truth, the two of them, individually or collectively, truth, the future, and freedom. So Jupiter and Uranus both represent those things. And what are the people involved in? They want to know the truth. They want to know what's going to happen with your future, and they want to be free.
Yes.
So
yes.
very, very strong energy towards that. But right now, lay low until the retrograde is over. Jupiter is going to be in Aries from now until the 28th of October. Then it's going to retrograde back, and then it will. It's in a sign for about a year, and it has a retrograde cycle within that. So it'll come back and then it'll go again. So it'll go into Taurus. Jupiter will be going into Taurus late in this year. So let's see if there's anything else I need to tell you. Lay low until the retrograde is over, then move forward with new goals and plans. Take action for self-betterment. You may need to cut back on spending and be more frugal for a time until the financial volatility is over. Okay. And so those are the big things right now.
Wow. That's a lot of stuff going on, but that was a really good one, Wendy. I really like that one.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
Helpful to people.
so just one note, when's the retrograde going to be over?
It'll be over on the 3rd. In other words, it will station
June 3rd.
direct on the 3rd, and then slowly for the next week move forward until it's happy.
Very good. So we'll just stay out of trouble till the 3rd.
Stay out of trouble, because that Aries energy can be trouble. What did we talk about before with Aries energy? It's about fighting. It's about war. It's about all of these impulsive, impatient types of energies. So be cautious. When all of a sudden you feel the energy, and you want to fight, you push it back down and you go, no, I'm not giving my power to it.
Right.
How you respond to all of this stuff is so critical to your balance, to your peace of mind. Just don't let yourself get caught up in all the stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. That was a good one. That was excellent. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get notifications from all the videos that are coming out. Don't forget about her subscription. This is going to be very exciting, very raw.
Yes.
And the goal is to build this family around some of like-minded people. So
right. And I love the idea of the Celestial Update family.
Yes.
We are a family. We love each other. We help each other. We have compassion for each other. We build each other. And that's
right.
what I want this subscription to be about, where we're sharing positive and helpful things, but at the same time, seeing the truth.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. And thank you again, Wendy.
Oh, and by the way, the next one I'm going to do on Elon Musk.
Yes.
A lot of people want to know about Elon Musk. So that'll be the next one.
Good. Excellent.
Okay.
Thanks, Wendy. All right.
You're welcome. Bye to everybody. Love you all.
I love you.
Bye-bye.